All right. Thanks, Patreon contributors, for joining us for spoiler talk for the Maltese Jordans. And I want to start out by saying when Gina fucking knocked out Mahogany, oh my God, that was so good.
That was when you were saying, when you said TV show, like
Yep.
this could be a network. Like that's the scene that actually came to mind when you said that. Like
Yep.
that's the scene that I could see in the TV show.
So good.
Yeah, Gina was an interesting character. Interesting in that I didn't like her. Because like her motivation seemed really skewed. So at first she comes across as crazy girlfriend, right? Like
Right.
we slept together once and she freaks out on him because he snuck out in the morning. Then she wants him to collect money. So I thought her character was going to go much farther south than she did.
Yeah.
Like I pictured
Like she
her like
was
trying
shady.
to run off with the sneakers, or yeah, like she was the whole time. Like you find out she's one of the Kaloa's secret girlfriends and she's working with them or something, and she didn't. There's something I just didn't like about her, like that insane jealousy when like Mahogany shows up, like shooting daggers at her. It's a guy she like slept with twice that she's known for a week. So I'm not saying she was an unrealistic character. I just didn't find her likable at all.
So there was one part in the book that I thought we were going to figure out that she was like she was working Jack. It's when they take Modi back to his house and they find out Mac had taken the Jordans, but it was so late at night that they decided to like crash and pick it up in the morning. In the morning, they would get the Jordans and then fly back. You remember what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Jack falls asleep and wakes up with like a half naked Gina and like doesn't, what I thought was that was kind of a way of like saying that like, oh, Gina kind of fooled around with Modi while Jack was asleep, and it was going to be revealed later on that she's been working with Modi the whole time. That didn't end up being the case, but that was kind of like my the reason I'm bringing this up is because I also had suspicions about like what are her motives.
Yep.
And I think to a degree that was intentional, but realistically, since she had just met the dude, it could be that she was seeing him as like her way to finally get out of like her shitty life, but she was kind of also suspicious of the situation. So like over time, she kind of realized that he's the real deal. So that's kind of what I took away from it, was like her acting fucked up in the first part of the book that she's a part of is just her not really being 100% sure if this is going to pan out for her or not.
And I think that from a Jack Palm standpoint, and obviously I don't know a lot about the books, but I feel like he mentioned 3 women towards the end. I get the feeling there's a new chick every book.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling if there's another Jack Palms book that Gina will be forgotten and added to that list in the third act somewhere where he like
He
reminisces about
women.
these women. Yeah, it'll just Gina will be tagged on at the end,
Which I'm fine with. She never got a last name, so that's not a good sign.
Yeah. The ending, leading up to the ending, being someone like I said was very familiar with basketball in the mid '90s. Like so much of that rings so true. Like I could. I'll put it to you this way: if Seth Harwood said, "Look, dude, this is all true. I just put Jack Palms onto it to reveal this," I would totally believe that if he said it. Like that's how true all of it felt from somebody that was very familiar with the game and things that were going on in the league at the time and the Michael Jordan stuff. Mm-hmm. What I didn't see coming, what nobody could see coming, is the character that shows up in the last like 5% of the book.
Yeah. So before we talk to that character, I've actually recently delved into the Jordan gambling conspiracy, Jordan's retirement, all of that stuff that happened around that time. Basically, what the book is structured on, what the story of the Maltese the Maltese Jordans is structured on. And all of it that he said in the book is consistent with what I've learned, except for the golf game with Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know Michael Jordan was a big golfer and not a very good golfer. This is something I remember hearing at the time. If he gambled with Trump or not, I believe I want to say, well, I guess there's a quick way to find out, right? let's see, Trump Jordan golf, and let's see, because I'm sure I will probably pull up a picture of the two of them golfing together.
Oh, I'm sure they must have at some point. Him writing checks to like mafia people for debts and shit like that. Absolutely true. Him, the suspicion that he retired from the NBA to avoid a scandal. Absolutely true. Yeah, all of that.
I did not find a picture of the two of them golfing together. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like that stuff that was going on with him, like that was all, whatever news, gossip, whatever at the time. So it all felt based in a very, very strongly in reality.
Yeah.
Now, a pre-presidential Donald Trump showing up, not at all what I expected. Which is weird, too, because the book isn't given a time frame, but we know it's today, right? Because there's, the Apple time machine is probably a time machine. Is that the right thing?
Capsule.
Time capsule is indicative of this is essentially today a year ago or whatever, But he wrote this after Donald Trump was president, which is an interesting decision to add him in as a character, but to do it in a way where he's just still living in New York.
Well, it published after he was president. Well, who knows when he wrote it?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is he was writing it a year ago.
Okay.
When we I feel the way he was releasing, he was writing it a chapter at a time. So maybe this is something that had been in his head for a while, but was really interesting. And the fact that like the way that the sneakers get unloaded, because the whole time, right, you're thinking probably like me, are the sneakers real?
Yep.
And ultimately, what's going to happen? The fact that Trump buys them back to give them to Michael Jordan as an apology for being, somewhat the catalyst.
Yep.
And I don't know. Like, I felt like that was a little bit of unfair blame. Like, it's not my fault that you keep betting into me and you keep losing. Like, you can't blame me for that. You know what I mean? So I didn't see it going down that way. And that's what was so nice about that ending is it was super tidy, super cleaned up. Super surprised, right? Because that's not, I can't imagine anybody expected that's what was going to happen. And cleaned it up really nicely, which is not easy to do. That I can't pick one thing apart about the ending.
Sure, yeah, I agree. It was. I'll admit that I like kind of ran through the chapter names a couple times while in like the process of reading, just to kind of see where I was in the book and stuff like that. And like I noticed that some of the chapter names were like Donald Trump focused, so ahead of time I kind of knew it was coming.
I gotcha.
But yeah, no one could have guessed that's how the story would play out. And it was just satisfying. It was clean, it was entertaining, and it was just it wasn't some dumb double cross or anything like that. It was just a nice, clean ending. It was very good.
Yeah, I really liked it. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to talk about here on Spoiler Talk. Do you have anything?
Just,
I'll say it here because it's spoilery in that we're really trying on the regular episode to not talk about the Maltese Jordans as an actual thing that we know exists. Mm-hmm. Dude, fucking who puts their nose in someone else's fucking shoe? Smell it.
Yeah.
And it happens twice. The one guy is like the appraiser or authenticator. Like, all right, maybe I understand that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Pick a supermodel. Like, I don't care. I'm really not sticking my nose in her fucking sneaker. That was super fucking gross.
Well, the fetishes that exist out there.
Yeah, but you know what? But that's the thing. Palms didn't show any signs of having that fetish. Now you want to introduce an interesting character in this, some kind of fucking shoe fetishist that's not a sneakerhead, but just like it would have been a wonderful extra character to have, right?
He or she wants the shoes for a different reason.
Yeah. Well, it would fucking be a he, and he just wants to smell the feet of super famous people. That's really what it would have to be, right? Like he collects the scent of somebody's foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's but there you go.
So do you think
there's a great idea for a book.
Do you think they're going to Hollywood to make a movie?
No, because that would not be interesting in the future world of Jack Palms.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to go with there's a throwaway 3 paragraphs in the next book that talks about why that didn't go down the way it was supposed to.
Gotcha. Well, All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for spoiler talk. We got the heavy important stuff out of the way, like Gina punching Mahogany.
There you go. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a valued patron on our Patreon. And come back in a couple weeks. I'm sure we'll be doing this again soon.